Hey, good morning, BJJ fans. This is Coach Roy. There's an interesting thing going on in Jiu-Jitsu, and I thought it was worthy of a comment, and I'm going to try to see if I can make this short and succinct. We have what seems to be these two opposing cultures in Jiu-Jitsu. That's probably not fair. I don't know that they're opposing, but they're definitely of two different mindsets. And the reason that it could become a potential issue is if a person who gets interested in jiu-jitsu thinks that it has to be one camp or the other, and then it can become a schism of the jiu-jitsu family, and I think that is where it becomes a problem. So let me just talk about that for a minute. Sport jiu-jitsu versus the traditional martial art of jiu-jitsu. And it maybe isn't even fair to say jiu-jitsu without qualifying it as Brazilian jiu-jitsu, specifically that which maybe originated in the United States, which is Gracie jiu-jitsu. That could be a whole nother podcast, because the lineage of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu versus Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the ethos of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu as a self-defense martial art that got publicly popularized by the UFC with the early Hoist Gracies, and even preceding that, the Vale Tudos with Master Elio Gracie. Yeah, it's a whole can of worms. But today, in 2025, 2026, the popularization of jiu-jitsu has become primarily, in America, no-gi jiu-jitsu and no-gi jiu-jitsu for competition. And that type of jiu-jitsu requires athleticism, strength, speed, physicality. It doesn't mean that there isn't an effective self-defense in no-gi jiu-jitsu. I teach a combat no-gi jiu-jitsu class every Thursday because, to paraphrase or to quote Professor Chris Hodder, I like that concept of thinking street, practicing sport. Because when you're on the mats, you kind of have to play by the rules. You have to be more kind. You have to not try to eye gouge, poke, knee, elbow, kick, punch, fish hook, bite, scratch, use weapons, throw sand in their eyes, etc., etc. We are basically fighting with our hands behind our back because we have agreed to follow a set of niceties for the protection of the other, and yet we're like, okay, go 100%. And so we're trying to fight like it's a real fight, but we also understand there's a set of safety mechanisms in place that are just unsaid rules of niceties while training. And so the street jiu-jitsu is not really represented correctly, which is what I would use in a no-gi situation. I guess that's the whole point, is like, if I go up against somebody as a black belt and they're 240, 260 pounds, they can bench press 300 pounds, they can deadlift 400 pounds, they can curl 50 pounds, 60 pound dumbbells, especially in my state of like rehabilitation, but throw that out. Just say that I'm 185 pounds and I'm curling 20 to 30 pounders. I can deadlift a couple hundred pounds and I can bench press a couple hundred pounds. They out-strength me, they out-physically strength me by twice. And so they can literally just bench press me off them. So when I'm no-gi grappling them, following sport rules, which require you to be somewhere within the right weight class, and everybody is athletic and everybody is training for sport with time limits and advantages and disadvantages and strategy, and they've got time limits. It works for the sport. But it can get in the head of a martial artist that I'm no good. I train and I train and I train. I'm a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, and then I go grapple a 230-pound white belt, and they tool me up. They crush me. They get on top, and or maybe a blue belt, and they get on top and they put me in side control and they isolate an arm, and then next thing you know, I'm tapping out. But you got to realize, like, you haven't been allowed to use any of your other self-defense techniques with that. And so it's just wrestling v. wrestling. And that's not a fair representation, in my opinion, of how good you are as a jiu-jitsu martial artist against another opponent. It is in regards to the sport, and give that the credit that it's due, but in regards to the fairness or how well you are trained as a martial artist, I just don't think that's a fair representation. And because of that, the no-gi family favors the no-gi because they don't like being held down by an old geezer with good strong grips. They don't like necessarily all of the slowing down with friction and with material and handholds and things like that. They like the fast, slippery, athletic roll. The big macro underhook overwraps, the scrambles, the wrestling, and it favors them because they're physically kind of geared for that. So it puts the advantage in their court. Whereas a smaller, weaker, lighter, less physical person can learn using the techniques of the gi, of material, which is common to people wearing clothes in the environment, and it slows the fight down. It allows for more leverage and technique to equal and balance the fight. And that's the beauty of jiu-jitsu. And I think we're throwing 2/3 of it out the window when we just train no-gi. If you're talking about the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu martial art, the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu art, and then people get dismantled and upset and they leave the art, and that's unfortunate because there's so much gift and blessing to being a jiu-jitsu martial artist. So anyways, this has gone too long. I wasn't going to talk for 7-8 minutes, but don't let the two forms of jiu-jitsu mess with you. If you're really in the mood of getting a great workout and you're physically fit and you're athletic and you want the challenge, good, then go roll no-gi. Be careful because you can break your knees and shoulders and arms really fast, and ankles. And don't forget, one day you're going to get weak. One day you're going to get old. One day you're going to get the flu or something that's going to weaken you, and somebody's going to be as strong or stronger, as athletic or more athletic, and they're going to tool you up. And you're going to go, gee, what's up with the last 7 years of jiu-jitsu? It's like I don't even know anything. Yes, you do. But physicality has a major part. And if you're trying to just use your jiu-jitsu with rules and no street, you're going to probably lose, because that's a tough battle to win. Don't let that mess up your jiu-jitsu. Keep it in perspective. They're both great martial arts. They're both great experiences. They both have their advantages and disadvantages. I'm just saying, don't let it get in your head to where it messes you up and you want to quit jiu-jitsu. It's not worth it. Put it back in perspective. Put the different jiu-jitsus back in the rightful corners and appreciate them for what they are and put them in the right spot. I hope this helps. Stay on the mats, work hard. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.